Hey everybody, my name is Jeff Bates. This is the Texas Rangers Clubhouse, where we talk about Texas Rangers, Major League Baseball, the Hall of Fame, play-by-play announcers, bonus pool arbitration for pre-arbitration players. Did I say that right? We've got lots to talk about. Let's start with the Hall of Fame. Ryan Thibodeau, who is not Mr. Tibbs over on Twitter or X, I guess it's X now, we should just call it X, does a great job tracking the Hall of Fame votes. Currently, there's only about 7% of the ballots that we know that have been made public that he has got, found, produced, created, whatever. And you should follow him if you care about this at Not Mr. Tibbs on X. I don't know him, but I follow him. He's great. I'll tell you the 6 people that I would vote for. If you're a voter for that, I'm not. If you're a voter for the Hall of Fame, you get to vote for up to 10, as little as 0 every year. And we'll talk about who is, well, right now we're going to talk about who would make it if the voting was done. 3 people are currently over the threshold of 75%. Our own Adrian Beltre, currently with 7% of the ballots in, no one's not voted for him. 100% of the people have voted for Adrian Beltre. He's going to get in. Todd Helton is currently at 88.9%. It looks good for him. Joe Mauer, 85.2%. Those are the only 3 that currently would make it. But again, we're only at 7% of the ballots known so far. Close to that, Billy Wagner, he threw some smoke. He's at 74.1%, so he's got a decent chance. Right now, he's just under 1% under the threshold. Also close in with the chance, we've got a couple people. Sheffield at 70.4%, Andrew Jones at 66.7%, and Carlos Beltran at 63%. A little under them, you got Utley at 56%, A-Rod at 40%, Manny at 37%, and it drops pretty heavily from there. I personally would vote for 6 people on this ballot. My votes would be Adrian Beltre, one of my all-time favorite players, one of the greatest defensive third basemen of all time. Oh, and by the way, he has 3,000 hits and one of the great players ever, one of the icons of the Rangers organization. It's going to be a good time. I very much hope he puts a Ranger hat on in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he will. It's not going to be a Red Sox. It's not going to be a Mariner. I doubt it would be a Dodger. He's going to be a Ranger in the Hall of Fame forever, and that excites me very much. 100% so far. Again, only 7% of the ballots in. He would get my vote. Also, who would get my vote? Todd Helton would. I've gone back and forth on him, honestly. He was elite defensively, all right? You know what really threw it over for me? He hit better on the road than he did at home. He's got some stats that show that he was better on the road than he was in Coors Field. That's pretty nuts. I mean, what's the reason to keep him out that he played at Coors? 2 things. 1, I don't think you should. It's not his fault he played there. And 2, he was better on the road. I mean, he was great. He was also the backup quarterback to Peyton Manning at Tennessee, which is just a fun trivia nugget about him. But I think he was a Hall of Famer. I do. It's hard for me. I don't want the Hall of Fame to be the Hall of really good or the Hall of even great. I want it to be the Hall of awesome, the Hall of Fame. So it's hard for me to I don't think everyone should be getting in the Hall of Fame, but I do think Todd Helton has a pretty good case. The next guy who would be making it would be Mauer at 85.2%. I'm going to make some of my good friends mad at this one. I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Peak level, he was really, really good. You know, there's 2 ways to look at greatness in baseball, in my opinion. It's peak level. Think Sandy Koufax, right? The guys who had really, really, really good years. And then there's that longevity thing. You know, Barry Bonds hit for a long time. Joe Mauer had a really, really good few years. Now, it's hard to be a catcher and play for a long time at a high level. Of course, there's going to be a dip. I just think, though, I don't think Joe Mauer was one of the greats. He was really, really, really good. He's a Minnesota Hall of Famer, no doubt, but I just don't think he's a baseball Hall of Famer. My vote would not go to Joe Mauer. The next guy on the list, Billy Wagner, I also wouldn't vote for. I really like Billy Wagner. I mean, if you're talking about unhittable, I mean, probably as unhittable as anyone who's ever played the game. Could have kept playing. Had a really good year last year for the Braves. I heard this morning he was in a bullpen in Atlanta his last year with, I think, a young rookie named Craig Kimbrell. Could be 2 Hall of Fame relievers, but I wouldn't put him in there. And I don't think that many relievers should make it. I don't think it's that valuable of a position to have a whole bunch of people in. I'm not saying the Mariano Rivera's and Trevor Hoffman shouldn't be in there. They should. But I think you got to be really, really at the top of your reliever game to be there. And Billy Wagner was. You can make an argument for him. Again, he's at 74.1%, so just under the 75% threshold that you need. But for me, he's not quite a Hall of Famer, but he was really, really good. Next, Gary Sheffield at 70.4%. He'd get my vote. I just think that for a very long time, he was one of the most feared hitters in baseball. I look at that guy as a Hall of Famer. I love what he's doing post career, by the way, helping out kids in baseball. That has nothing to do with if you should vote for him for the Hall of Fame. But I think Gary Sheffield was a Hall of Famer. I think one of the reasons he's not going to make it if he doesn't is he played for a whole bunch of teams, and I think that people still look at that negatively. I think that people still want you to be a Brooks Robinson and play for a team, the same team, for a long time. Sheffield definitely didn't do that. Also, he had a bad rap for being a bad guy early on in his career. I don't know what that was about. I think it started when he was with Milwaukee as a rookie. He's a good guy. Everything I've read, everything I've seen, I like him. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he was one of the most feared bats in the game for a very long time. This next guy I've also changed my mind on. For a while, I wasn't so sure that Andrew Jones should get in. He was the best defensive center fielder in the game. His first 10 years in baseball, everyone knew he was a Hall of Famer. He had a very early career. He had a World Series run before he was even a rookie, if I remember correctly. Andrew Jones hit lots of home runs, won lots of Gold Gloves, and then he tailed off. I think he actually gets hurt for playing so long and for a bunch of teams at the end there. As a Brave, he was unbelievable. I've changed my mind on him. I think he should be a Hall of Famer. Carlos Beltran, no, I wouldn't vote him in. He was really, really good. I really liked him as a player. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Another one I really love, Chase Utley at 56% currently. Loved him. Big fan of Chase Utley. Don't think he's a Hall of Famer. And then two guys down at 40 and 37%. A-Rod, should he be in the Hall of Fame? This could be a whole video, but yeah, he should. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Obviously, I don't even think there should be an argument. Obviously, there is an argument. I don't think he's ever going to get in. And I think it's a shame. Do I think he's a good guy? No, I don't. I don't think there's. I think there's evidence that shows that he's probably not the best guy to hang around with. But A-Rod's a Hall of Famer. I don't know how you can have a Hall of Fame and not have Alex Rodriguez in it. And I get the argument in the steroids thing. He paid his price. He was suspended for over a year. A-Rod's one of the greatest players ever. And I think the same of Manny Ramirez. Boy, this guy was entertaining. One of the most feared right-handed bats ever in the game. 37% to me is insane. I don't get it. I don't understand how he's not a Hall of Famer. Again, I get the argument. I just don't agree with the argument about the steroids thing. I think it's ridiculous. A-Rod, Manny, and frankly, Roger Clemens, who's not on the ballot, should be in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. This is a whole video, I know, but my votes would be Beltre, Helton, Sheffield, Jones, A-Rod, Manny. Again, right now, Beltre, Helton, and Mauer are over the threshold of 75%. Wagner, Sheffield, and Jones, and even Beltran are pretty darn close. You probably already know this, but you rock. You watched the video all the way to the end, and I appreciate it. This is a clip, is a clip from my Texas Ranger Clubhouse video podcast from today. You can watch the whole thing if you want. I'll try to put a link to it. You rock. Thanks for being here. Subscribe, like, share, all those things. Go Rangers.